Welcome to Level 1 Walkthrough.
I'm Tony.
And I'm Emad.
And this is our episode 10 of our podcast. And the dedication that Emad has right now is completely valid right now because you right now are sick, right?
Yes, so I want to apologize in advance. I'm going to try to mute out my coughing. But yeah, I have a little cold.
Yeah.
I caught it from work, and either from work or from my daughter, because everyone is sick around me. Like wherever I go, everyone's like coughing in my face and stuff.
That's exactly how it is. That's exactly how it is at my job. Everyone's coughing, and I have a hoodie, so I always put the little zipper part in the front of it. I always put it over my mouth because I'm just like, hey, you guys just need to stay home. To stay home. That the virus is telling you to come to work and infect everybody. Like, don't do that.
Don't listen to it. Don't listen to the virus.
Yeah. Don't listen to the virus. It's telling that you're okay, so you go to work, but you're not.
Yeah.
Keep your butt at home.
Yeah, and my voice might sound a little bit different. Like when I get a sore throat, like my voice gets deeper. Like
you do.
Do I sound?
You sound like you should be narrating a documentary.
Maybe I should do that.
Yeah, maybe that's your calling. Maybe you had no idea. Maybe when you get sick, you can book all these kind of gigs. You never know.
Yeah, but I can only do it when I'm sick. They're like, yeah, can you do it this weekend or whatever? I'm like, sorry guys, you have to wait until I get sick.
Yeah,
and then my voice gets really, really deep. Then I can do it.
Which only gets sick every other couple months. So yeah. So with this episode, we've been talking about since the very beginning about what we wanted to actually do, the parts of it that we wanted to do with it. So in this one, we're going to be essentially just dissecting the first 20 minutes of The Last of Us in the very beginning of it. So it's basically the first actual level of the game, your first intro into the series, and why we chose this particular game in particular, and why this specific episode or this first actual part of the game is so crucial, because this game not only introduces you to the world of everything that you're doing, but it really does set the tone for everything that's going to happen within the actual game, and giving you these characters that feel real. Like most of the time you play games, the characters, they're overpowered, they're superheroes, they can take on everybody. In this game, they took all that away and stripped it down. So I essentially wanted to do this for a very long time, and I'm so excited that we're able to do this now, because there's so much in this game that I want to like get into and like dissect into, and this first part is exactly the reason why I love this game so much. So
we'll tell them the real reason why we're doing this. Because we're hyped up for The Last of Us 2. That's probably
so. Not only that is because The Last of Us Part 2 is going to be coming out next year in 2020. It's going to be delayed. It's supposed to be in March, or in May, but now it's going to be delayed a little bit further. So I'm not exactly sure when it is, but we wanted to.
No, I think it's May, dude. I think it's May.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we really wanted to actually set this up. So once Part 2 comes out, we're going to actually do essentially the same thing. By that time, we can even probably do like live streaming or something like that. I'm sure we can have something, with this game. But it basically is kind of just a celebration of this game, and just our appreciation of these are the type of games that we really do. It keeps a part of ourselves. We really feel like this actually extends our feeling and thoughts of why video games are so important, and why when they get it right, it feels like you're not just playing a game. You feel like you're inside the world of this, that these designers, these creators have put their heart and soul into, and it's amazing.
I was just about to say that. You took the words right out of my mouth. Like, this is a great example of a game where you can tell where they, like you said, they put their heart and soul into it, and it's polished, from the graphics. This originally came out like near the end of the PS3's life cycle. So they really pushed the PS3 to the limit, but it looks even better on the PS4. Like they remastered it for the PS4.
Yeah, that's the wild thing about this, is that if you start to actually find the reason. Like Neil Druckmann, he talked about this game when it was first being introduced, about the reason on why they actually chose this type of actual setting and what it was that they wanted. Because the way that this game is all centralized is that there's this fungus and this virus that gets out that essentially infects everybody that it touches. A mere scratch, or even just these spores that can spawn out from like a kind of like a plants or something like that. If you breathe it in, you breathe in that actual fungus. So it's really just more bacteria that they took from this real thing that actually happens. This real fungus called cordy Yorcrypus. I'll spell it. It's Cordyceps. So cordyceps. I don't know.
Dang, you're really nerding out with this. I'm really impressed, man. Keep going.
Okay. So the reason why they chose this is because what this fungus does is that it's in the actual parts of it. A lot of it has been discovered in the Amazon, but it's also in Brazil as well. So what they found is that this fungus will infect these insects. So most of the time it'll get ants, and what it does is that it infects their brain to where they basically kind of kill parts of the actual brain and kind of guide it to go into its colony and kill its actual queen or kill all the other ones. So it's really interesting that this fungus does this.
Wow.
It takes these things away from the actual the host, and it basically makes them into like these zombies. So it's like they can't control themselves. So not only that is that these like parts of the fungus starts peeling out from the actual forehead. So it's like this long, elongated kind of like it's like a little stick that forms out, and it kind of forms out kind of like a mushroom or something. It looks really really weird. But also too, another thing that it does is sometimes if it doesn't go to its colony, if it's like an ant or something like that, if it's an insect like a spider, it'll make it kill itself. Like what this thing does is so bizarre that it even has the ability to do that, where it changes the insect's instinct to survive and basically makes it's like an uncontrollable like zombie. And that's
dude, is this for real, man? I'm really gullible. I'm really gullible, and I'm believing you.
If anyone wants to actually Google it right now, what you could do is just say zombie fungus, and then it's like in the Amazon or in Brazil, and you'll see it. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And I can't pronounce the actual name itself, but I'm going to say it's cordyceps. I'm just going to say that cordyceps or seeps. I'm going to say it wrong, but it doesn't matter. But the whole point of it is Neil Druckmann and part of his other of his team, because they're one of the creators, as part of the creators, is they took this example from this and said, what would this really happen if this fungus were to not just infect insects, but infect humans? What would it do? And that's why you have the sense of these clickers where the fungus is like pulling out of its face, and it looks like kind of like parts of like a coral reef, like it kind of like extends out. That's because they took that idea of what that fungus does in those insects and just said, what would happen if it infected humans? So,
wow.
And
that's a scary thought, man.
Yeah. So I mean, they blended this, and they also took it's like another little twist on what zombies are. So it's another little thing, because this fungus itself can lay itself in like kind of like plants, where if it spawns out its spores, you can get infected on that too, which has never been done with like any kind of zombie genre that I've seen, because they're normally like they'll either bite you and then you come back. These things is more of an actual bacteria that gets onto you.
That's really interesting, man. Like it would have been cool if they like broke that down in the game.
Yeah.
Or like if they had it as an extra or something.
Yeah.
To explain all of that.
Well, that's where that's where you really get into the art book that I mentioned that in like the first episode I had mentioned that I have that art book, and that's one of the things that they talk about. They talked about this type of fungus, what it would do, and the different types of concepts that they had for people that would have this infected on them, that these little things would start sprouting out on their body. So that's why, like, the runners in particular, the runners itself, when you see them, there's scenes where in the game where you're hiding from them, and they're walking around and they feel like they're in pain and they're like making these weird sounds. You remember how they did that? Where like they would like their hands would move in weird directions and it felt like they're in pain and they
Yeah.
can't control themselves. That's the reason why they're like that, because this fungus does that to to anything that it gets infected with, it gets in contact with. It basically controls them, so they can't control themselves. So that's why those characters, those people, they feel like they can't do anything and they're in pain because they can't do anything about it. Like inside their mind, they can probably see what they're doing, but their body can't. They can't stop it. Like
So
that's a scary idea.
are you saying that like the real version of them is still inside and they're fighting
I
that
don't know.
bacteria or virus
I
or
mean,
whatever?
who knows?
Hmm.
I mean, you could probably say that it's probably not. Like that part of them is gone, and this
Yeah.
fungus is driving them. But let's say
Yeah.
that they are, and they can't control themselves. That's even a scarier idea.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That would be real scary, man.
yeah.
Dude, you really hyped it up. Like, you want to go ahead and get into it?
Okay, so so what we're gonna do is we're gonna play the actual video of the Last of Us Remastered episode 1 that I had posted on the YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/level1tester, and it's in the playlist, and you can be able to watch the game in there. So if you want to kind of follow along, or if you want to watch these actual things, if you haven't watched it in a long time, this is exactly what we're doing it. So this is kind of going to be our little commentary, running commentary along with this, and we're going to be playing it. We're going to be pausing it, but we're just going to kind of just narrate what it is about these things that we remember seeing, because it's been a while since we've actually played this game. So,
Hmm.
um, but we're going to go ahead and just try this out. Let's go ahead and hit play. Let's go ahead and skip through this. Actually, you know what? Okay.
Hmm. Look at those curtains.
Oh wait. Okay. Wait.
Oh, I knew this game. I
How
knew this
far?
game was going to be good when I saw the curtains swaying like that.
I know. I know. What's? Oh, okay. So right now, if I play back, what do you see?
I see the curtains swaying.
Okay. Intros a long time ago.
I like it, man. It's a good
Yeah,
intro.
thank you. Do you remember when when the cover art of the game came out and Ellie was prominently centered in the front instead of behind, which is in most modern
Hmm.
games where the guy leads and the anyone else or other female is in the background. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that, to be honest with you, or maybe I
Yeah,
didn't pay attention to it. That's interest. That's
yeah.
interesting.
They made a point to do that, but I'm just gonna pause this real quick right here and just kind of just look at the actual intro of the actual game, this main menu. Most games like this would be all action packed. They would show you something, they'd give you heavy dialogue, they would give you something. This
Hmm.
is kind of why this is so important, because if you look at it, everything on the wall is all kind of beat up, it's all ruined, like everything's kind
Hmm.
of molding. And then you see this life and this the like nature is like seeping in no matter what. And that's kind of what happens, because once people are gone, nature kind of takes over. And it's like
Hmm.
they made a point to put all this in there, and you don't even know what this real game is. But the subtlety of this little curtain swaying is just, it's beautiful.
Hmm. It's very nice.
Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and just play this.
Like, when you remember playing this for the first time
Mhm.
and you were at this part, did you have any idea what to expect?
No,
Oh, oh,
no, I had
so you had
no
no
idea.
idea. Wow.
Nope. Nope.
That must have been exciting. Like, you had no idea what was going to happen.
I mean, I watched a little bit of the trailers, and I
Yeah.
was thrown into it. Absolutely. When I saw it, I was like, oh, I'm in. Anything that revolves around survival, especially
Hmm.
zombies and stuff like that, that's you're always going to get my attention.
Hmm.
How long has it been since you've seen this?
Oh, man, it's been a long time.
Okay.